everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk to you today about some of my lower impact successes that I've been able to sustain for quite some time. Many things I've been doing, for instance, buying secondhand, I've been doing for almost my entire life. There was a period when I was into fast fashion as a younger woman. That's my dog lapping at his bowl of water, that noise. So I was into fast fashion for maybe about 10 years when I was younger. But then over time, as things have continued, and from an early age, actually, I thrifted and I bought secondhand furniture, clothing, etc. But some of the things that I've been doing, I have only done in the last 8 to 10 months or so as I've been studying the low waist movement through YouTube. And some of those things I want to go over with you today. So if you find this video helpful and useful, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button to be notified when I load new videos. And hit the like button too, please, if you find this helpful. Okay, so to talk about a few things that have been both successful as far as lower impact and in some cases lower cost also. I've been able to decrease my use of plastic baggies. Lately, I've been buying more and more things in glass containers or metal containers, but glass containers are frequently something that I'll see in a store. I'll see the option of buying in plastic, like honey in plastic or honey in glass, and I'll buy glass and for the honey. Cans of coffee versus bags of coffee. I oftentimes will choose the can of coffee over the bag of coffee. When I order my espresso via online, I get a can of espresso in metal. But anyway, with the plastic baggie issue, when I stopped using plastic baggies as much, I'm down to maybe one a week, if that, usually not even, I think it's one every 2 weeks or so. I used to use 6, 7, 8 a week. I'd put them in the freezer with things in the freezer. When we went shopping, we'd put our meats in the freezer with plastic baggies. We'd bag up leftovers in plastic baggies. We'd put the bread we didn't freeze in plastic baggie and put the rest of it in the freezer. So what I did was I purchased some bags called stasher bags and some non-stasher bags called CHRIDER, Schreider bags. And those are silicone bags, which are generally acknowledged in the lower waist movement to be less impactful on the environment than plastic is. So I bought Schreider and stasher bags, and I use them for meats and things like that. And I also use glass jars to put a lot, like my bananas. When I freeze my bananas, when they start to getting too ripe, I'll break them in half for smoothies and put them in the freezer. And so I freeze my bananas in a glass jar, just a small glass jar that I have saved from like jam that I brought at the store, and so I can use the jar, reuse the jar for that. So those are one of the things I found out in studying the lower waist movement through YouTube is that plastic is recycled at a rate of about 9% of the total plastics that are used in the world, and glass and metal are recycled at a much higher rate than that. That's why I would choose glass or metal over plastic whenever I can. It also makes a lower cost to use far fewer plastic baggies. I'm buying them so infrequently as opposed to once every 3 to 4 to 5 months that I used to buy them before. Paper towels, I probably use about a roll of paper towels in 5 months' time. I've switched over to towels, like regular absorbent towels that you use on your body that have gotten old and frayed, and I just cut them up and use them for dish rags or floor rags or counter rags. I have a whole bunch of them, and I use some old t-shirts and old blouses, old shirts that don't that have gotten stained, or they just don't have the print on them isn't the way it should look. So I use those, I cut those up and I use them on the floors, and my paper towel usage has decreased quite a bit. So that's a positive for the environment and for cost. Laundry soap I've talked about before. I'll try to link that in the description of this video, but I've talked before about doing a do-it-yourself laundry soap. It's much cheaper. I use baking soda, washing soda, and Castile soap. Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, and it's a very easy recipe. It's from the Happy Hippie Home, I believe it's called. Has the recipe for the laundry soap online, and it's so much cheaper. It's so much less chemicals used and released into the ocean after they go through your wash. So it's really a cost saving, a time saving, a money saving, and a environmentally friendly thing to do. I also have cut the time I use for a dryer by at least 2/3. I only put my husband's clothes in the dryer, and I put all my clothes and all the household things that we use on a drying rack. So I've greatly reduced the amount of time that we have the dryer running every week. I recycle and compost all my coffee grounds by putting them in a bowl and drink a lot of coffee, as I've mentioned before in videos. And I put them in a bowl and I spray them with a sprayer of water to keep them wet while I'm collecting them. After about 2 days, maybe 3 days, I will take them out and fill them with water, fill the bowl with water, and then pour it onto the plants in my yard for fertilizer. They like They like coffee grounds as a fertilizer. Plants do. Vegetable scraps I save for veggie stock quite often. Not across the board all the time, but when I can and when I think of it. I try to think of it most of the time. I will save vegetable scraps for stock for making soups and other things like that. The bottom of a honey jar, you can always have a little bit of honey left in the bottom of a honey jar. Fill a little water in the jar, shake it up, and then put it in the microwave for 10 or 15 seconds, and the honey will melt into the water, and then you can pour the water into your tea, and you have hot water in your tea that has already been sweetened, and then you have all your honey used, and you have sweet tea. Also, for macaroni and pasta water, when you make that and you are done with it, you can drain it into a bowl and then using a funnel, pour it into a jar to save the pasta water to use either as water for your plants. Plants like the nutrients in pasta, and they can use that to help them grow, and the water, of course, they need. And then, or you can put it in a jar and keep it in the freezer till a time when you're going to be making soup. Okay, so those are just some ideas and some ways that I've been able to reduce costs as well as also reduce my impact in the world. And they're very much habits of mine. They're nothing that I don't do on a regular basis. I do them all the time. So they're well ingrained into my habitual responses now. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you found this useful.